Did y'all know that there was an enslaved man who stole a Confederate ship, won his freedom, and then changed the entire political system? You ever wonder why we barely learn about Black revolutionaries outside of MLK and Malcolm X? Because if we did, we would recognize the playbook that they're still using against us today. So let me put you on to Robert Smalls. Imagine being enslaved, working on a Confederate ship during the Civil War. But instead of just surviving, you say,
I'm leaving here with something.
That's exactly what Robert Smalls did in 1862. While the white Confederate officers were asleep on land, Smalls and his crew hijacked the ship. He put on the captain's hat, used the correct passcodes, and sailed right through Confederate checkpoints like he belonged there. Once he got to Union-controlled waters, he surrendered the ship and freed his family, his crew, and their families. This man stole a Confederate ship in the middle of a war. It doesn't get any more iconic than that. Why don't they have a movie about this man yet? Do they have a movie? But he didn't stop there. After the war, he went from being a fugitive to being elected to Congress. Come up of the century. He helped write legislation that created the first public school system in South Carolina, which eventually led to public education all throughout the South. He fought for Black voting rights during Reconstruction, making sure that newly freed Black men could actually participate in democracy. And that's exactly why they came for him. After the Reconstruction, white supremacists saw how much power Black voters had, so they started passing voter suppression laws to strip that away. Poll taxes, literacy tests, and gerrymandering. Fast forward to today, new voter suppression laws, gerrymandering that dilutes Black votes, and attacks on public schools are still happening. That same playbook that they used against Robert Smalls in the 1800s is still being used today. Robert Smalls didn't just steal a Confederate ship. He stole power back from a system that tried to erase him. And they've been fighting to take that power back ever since. Every time they attack voting rights, that's because they remember what Black voters did during Reconstruction. Every time they defund public schools, that's because they know education means power. They don't teach us about Robert Smalls because his story proves that when Black people gain power, the system moves fast to strip it away. They don't want us to know our history because if we did, we'd understand just how much power we actually have. Say his name. Robert Smalls.